Once again, Koiki Media bringing the work closer to your doorstep. Ní báyìí, a wà ní ìlú Ìbàdàn níbi tí a ti ń ṣe èyí ní on the 15th of August ọdún 2025. A wà ní ìlú Ìbàdàn níbi tí a ti fẹ́ ṣe press conference lórí gbogbo àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Ìnàyàn obìnrin mo rẹ̀ ìyàn ọrùn súnpẹ́ sí. Ọmọ onígbèmí òjọba ìyàwó wọn ṣe pé ń kọ́ ìyá kan ọ̀pẹ̀ ní òjò tó sàn wọ́n mọ̀ ṣe pé ń kó sáà láwẹ̀. Mo rí bẹ̀yìn bàbá mi, mo rí bẹ̀yìn yèyé mi. Ọmọdé ilé ìgbà àgbàlagbè ní ọmọ yìí mo mọ̀ lóde eré lọ́jọ́ tòní. Ìyá bàbá mi ló bá mi lóhùn ti bèé mọ́ lóòjọ́ máa rọ́kọ́ sí ọmọ òkúnlẹ̀ rógbọ́ ẹ̀rọ́gbọ̀n. Mo ní abẹ́gbẹ́ kí rogbó jẹ́lẹ̀ ojúmọ́ tó máa dáṣẹ́ ní ìwọ̀n ìgbà òkúta ọmọ alálẹ̀ ẹlẹ́gbẹ́ mọ́mọ́ tí ó ń wí. Gbogbo ará lẹ́yìn mo dé ojúmọ́ tó mọ́ wa lónìí mo ní orí àwọ̀ àfire. Ojúmọ́ tó mọ́ wa lónìí mo lórí àwọ̀ àfire. Ojúmọ́ tó mọ́ wa lónìí mo lórí àwọ̀ àfire. Mo ní àwọn òní ìfẹ́ nìkan kan ṣáàwátì. Ìjókòó ní mo ní ìjókòó àmúyẹ ni a ò nífẹ̀ẹ́ ní gbọ́kàndé ní àpọ̀tì. Ìṣẹ̀dáwó onígbàbọ̀dé lóde ayé. Mo ní bí n bá lọ síwájú wọn mọ̀ lọ sẹ́yìn òjèrè mo ti rí bẹ́lẹ̀ ìmọ̀ rẹ̀ ọba kọ́dá ayé. Mo ní wọ́n rẹ̀ lé ìyá mi ọ̀ṣọ́ àwúrò olú lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ títí ìbò. Gbogbo èrò tí ń bẹ níbi mo ní ẹ bá ń kórè yèyé Ọ̀ṣun. Ó ní ní ìbá lọ ní àbẹ̀ ọmọ ọmọbẹ̀ ń wọ́n ní gbogbo àwa tá a wà níbi láṣìṣẹ́ òkun. Òkun lágbá ayé ẹ̀jẹ̀ mú ọdún wọn láti gìrìgìrì rẹ̀ ìjà. Ògún oníjà ògún onídojú ìjà pọ̀ wá. Gbogbo wa jáde wọlé òmọ̀mọ̀ ní ìtọ́sí wa. Ní ìjà àgbọn ìbò onídojú ìjà pọ̀ wá. Gbogbo mi tá a bá dé ilẹ̀ oníjọ̀pá aláṣẹ elékùnkùn rẹ̀. Àníjẹ́jú ilẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀. Wọ́n ní mo ti rí ìbàgì tó mọ̀ lọ, mo rí ìbàgì tó mọ̀ lọ, ìbàrẹ̀ olúbìnrin ẹ̀kọ́ òkè sọ́bìrì làgídí ọ̀làgídí kàkà bíbẹ́ẹ̀lì. Adálápá fòkùn lórí ọkọ̀ yẹn wọn lọ bẹ́ẹ̀lẹ̀. Kábíyèsí sẹ́gbó táyọ̀ bá ààrẹ yìí ó jì. A nà ṣe yọrí ayọ̀ ànírógun àṣetì nílé ayé. Ó yẹ orírì. Obìnrin tó gbọ́dọ̀ jọ pẹ̀ lábẹ́fẹ́ epo òní fẹ́lú. Àní rí dàmú àní kan dàmú. Àṣẹwọ́ láàlú oníre oríta gọ́ngọ́ lóògùn kò ní ṣe wá. Ẹ bá ń pẹ́ èṣù láàlú o. Èṣù láàlú o. Onílé oríta èṣù láàlú o. Èmi o. Èṣù máa ṣe bí o, onílé oríta èṣù máa ṣe bí o. Jáde wọlé òní jẹ́ tí gbogbo wọn láṣẹ lẹ́yìn àmọ́lá àdúgbò ikú òní pa wá o. Ìgbà kan lóní alólò ní àròló ní àtiwáyé ikú àti òun àtàlà. Ojú ló kúnnú púpọ̀ kìjà kó lóun tí kèrè sí sára gbọ́n. Ifá ló dèké pọ̀ nígbà ní mo ló dèrè wọn fẹ́ lọ sí ìfọyà olómi tó kọ̀ òun kú ní jọ́ ń jẹ òun kú ní jọ́ mọ̀ òun kú méjì máa kú lèwe lóko. ìyá kò ní pa wá. Ìgbà ní ọ̀yẹ̀kú mo bọ́ ọmú lẹ̀ mọ́ màá ṣe dà mí nínú bí ẹrú ní pẹ̀lú ẹ̀ nípàwọ̀. Ajá fò fún obìnrin tí ń bẹ láàrin gbogbo aláwọ̀ láyọ̀ ta àgbà òbí sí. Ikú mọ̀ pa ọmọ ikú ti yẹ̀ lórí ọmọ ikú ó yẹ̀ lórí gbogbo. Àjáde wọlé kò ní jẹ́ tiwa. Àrí dààmú. Ìbá ní ìwòrìbó délé kó kílẹ̀ ìwòrìbó lọ́nà kó kọ́nà kílẹ̀ ọkọ́nà mọ̀ bá lórí wọn ni. Àdìbá fúrúgbè tí sanwó lòdì ọ̀nà. Ìjẹ́kíní bẹ lágbègbè o, oyin mọ́mọ́ àdùn ní bẹ́ẹ̀bẹ̀ oyin mọ́mọ́ àdùn.
Sọ́dẹ̀ẹ́dẹ́ àwọn olùgbò ọjọ́ fún lọ́jọ́wọ́. Àwọn akíkọ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo wa máa ń bẹ̀rẹ̀ kó kàlẹ̀ látàárọ̀ olú àgbèwà àwọn oṣù lásán ilẹ̀ Oòduà ṣẹ̀dá ni.
Ẹ ṣeun yan yèyé Ọ̀ṣun ẹ kéré yèyé o. Ẹ ṣeun bàbá rẹ mo kí gbogbo bàbá mi ìyá mi bàbá àbúrò ní ìlú ní ìyàgànkù ìlú ibẹ̀ ni a wà yìí fún ẹ̀sùn ààbò. Àkọ́kọ́ ní pé ẹ jẹ́ kí a wá àwọn bàbá wa ìyá wa bíi mẹ́ta tí wọ́n máa ṣe àdúrà fún wa. A máa nídìí ìyá wa yìí Yẹ́misí Ajíbọ́lá Ọ̀ṣun Fúnkẹ́ wọ́n fẹ́ ṣàdúrà fún wa nípa ti ìṣẹ̀ṣe. Ẹ ṣeun. Ẹkún tó láṣẹ ẹkún tó láṣẹ.
Olódùmarè ìbàdànwọ̀ rẹ̀. Olódùmarè ìbàdànwọ̀ rẹ̀.
Ìbáṣẹ.
Adúpẹ́ tó dé adúpẹ́ ìgbókùn adúpẹ́ pé orí kọ̀ọ̀kan ló jí lójúmọ́ tó Olódùmarè tó gba ọpẹ́ wọn. Olódùmarè tó gba ọpẹ́ wọn. Olódùmarè tó gba ọpẹ́ wọn. Gbogbo ọ̀kan nínú ohun gbogbo ẹgbẹ́ kẹ́ parapọ̀ kẹwàá gẹ̀wọ̀. Nípàdé tòní kó jẹ́ pàdé àṣeyẹ. Nípàdé tòní kó jẹ́ pàdé àṣeyẹ. Amọ̀fẹ́ni kọ̀ọ̀kan ṣàwárí. Amọ̀fẹ́ni kọ̀ọ̀kan ṣàwárí. Gbogbo tí a wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ kìí ẹ̀jẹ̀ kó
ọmọ Oòduà ni mí.
Tọkàntọkàn.
For the greatest beggar. For the greatest gogo.
Ìtọ́kàn báyìí ni ìfinihàn. Àkọ́kọ́ Ajíbàbá wa Emeritus Professor Banji Akíntúnyè tó yẹ pé àwọn bàbá wa tí wọ́n dúró gbéṣẹ́ ìyá ló jẹ́ àwọn ọmọ Oòduà. Bẹ́ẹ̀ náà la kí gbogbo àwọn tó jẹ́ àwọn bàbá wa tó jẹ́ àwọn àgbààgbà tí wọ́n sì ń bí. Àwọn Ajíbàbá wa orúkọ ńlá. Àwọn ni wọ́n jẹ́ dẹ́kùtì fún gbogbo YSDN tí ó wà ní pátápátá ní homeland ṣẹ́gun.
Once again, Koiki Media bringing the world closer to your doorstep. Today is 15th of August 2025. Àwa ní ìlú Ibadan ní Iyaganku.
Tí mo jẹ́ olórí ọ̀dọ́ fún Yorùbá Nation. Ẹ ṣe ìmọ̀ kí o gbélé àdẹ̀fiṣẹ́ náà ojú òní tí wà. Olúwàgbéwà oníkì ọ̀dà rẹ̀ láṣẹ Èdùmàrè. Èyí tó kàn ní ìfinihàn a máa fún àwọn bàbá wa tí wọ́n jẹ́ mídíà wa láti wá fi àwọn tó bá jẹ́ mídíà tó bá wà níbí láti fi wọ́n hàn. Ẹ ṣe gbọ̀n ọ̀dà bá wà ọ̀dà wọn ti jáde. So ètò kan báyìí ni èyí tí a bá wá síbí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ètò ààbò ní orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Òun náà ni a máa sọ fún àwọn bàbá wa ní wọ́n lè bá wa sọ̀rọ̀. So I'm going to Only because of time, so Yoruba nation, Yoruba nation, Yoruba nation. Kì í dẹ́rù bà ọmọ níwájú ilé bàbá ẹ̀. Yoruba nation, Yoruba nation, Yoruba nation. Mo kí gbogbo yín lọ́kùnrin, lóbìnrin, lọ́mọdé, lágbà, ẹni tó wà lé, ẹni tó wà lóko. Ẹgbẹ́ kìkì lé àwọn èèyàn wà, máa jókòó kàkiri. Ṣùgbọ́n ẹ̀ka kọ́kọ́ sọ Yorùbá náà torí òyìnbó lọ́nà Áfíríkà. Mo kí gbogbo yín nílé lóko nírìn àjò. Gbogbo àgbáyé láti ibi tó ti wò wá mo kí. Wọ́n ní eré tá à ń sáì, kì í ṣe eré ìje kọ́mọ́kọ́mọ́ 100 meters, kì í ṣe sprint. Eré ẹ̀mí ni, eré tó yẹ pé wọ́n máa ń pè ní marathon. Ẹ má yẹ kó sí yín o, ẹ má yẹ kó sí yín o, ẹ má yẹ kó rẹ̀ yín. Ẹ ṣe orí láyé, ṣé wàá rí báyìí? Kí ni jẹ́ ká fi kóra wa jọ lẹ́yìn? A kóra wa jọ torí àwọn ọ̀kọ̀ọ̀kan ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílùú wa tí àwọn ò nífẹ̀ẹ́ sí rárá. A ti ń pariwo fún wọn pé Yorùbá fẹ́ lọ. Yorùbá fẹ́ dá dúró, gbogbo nǹkan tí Nàìjíríà ń kó bá wa kó báyìí ti pọ̀ jù. Àwọn sọ pé a fẹ́ lọ ṣùgbọ́n kò yí àwọn ènìyàn wa kò dé yí àwọn ọ̀tá tó ń dà wá láàmú. Ìdí ẹ̀ nìyẹn tàbí kóra wa jọ lẹ́yìn. A fẹ́ sọ ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn, a fẹ́ sọ, a fẹ́ kọ̀ǹkò, a fẹ́ so mọ́lẹ̀. Wọ́n lè gbé gbogbo èèyàn pé kò báyìí là ń sọ. Kó má sí iyèméjì tàbí ambiguity pé kí ló ń ṣe wọ́n nǹkan tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ yé wa nǹkan kan. Àásọ lédè Yorùbá, àásọ lédè Yorùbá. Ìdí ẹ̀ tàbí kóra wa jọ sí ìbàdí mi ni mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín, mo kí yín o. Mo tọrọ gáfárà, mo tọrọ àyè, màá jókòó láti ka ìta àkọọ́lẹ̀ fún ètò yìí. Ẹ ṣé gan-an. A tẹ àkọlé nǹkan tá a kọ yìí. A pè ní the subsisting issue of ethnic identity and independence in the Yoruba nation. This is an address at the World Press Conference organized by Yoruba Self-Determination Movement (YSDM) on Friday, August 15th, 2025. The battle for the real soul of Lagos State. The battle for the real soul of Lagos State, and by extension, Yorubaland, continues even after the highly volatile Lagos State gubernatorial elections of 2023. The elections and the events preceding it were combustible because some elements within the Nigerian Federation, foreign to the historical, cultural, and ancestral origins of Lagos State as an integral part of Yorubaland, were making spurious, vexatious, and unsustainable statements to the effect that Lagos is no man's land. That was the statement that aroused the ire of Lagosians, Yoruba, and any person of conscience with some modicum of respect for their hosts, to make them come out to resoundingly put to bed the controversy. Babajide Sanwo-Olu of the All Progressives Congress Party, for whom Yoruba in general had decided to aggregate their support, believing that he represents Yoruba interests, first and foremost, on the issue of who becomes the governor of at the March 18, 2023 Lagos State gubernatorial elections, was massively voted for to return to power.
It's not because we believe in the politics of Nigeria. Neither is it because we want to participate in it, but because we are looking for the best person to fit the Yoruba bill. Ẹni tó máa lè tí a lè sọ pé òkè tó bá jẹ́ pé ẹ̀yìn lọ win kò ní bọ́ sọ́wọ́ Igbo. Ẹ jẹ́ ká kóra wa àti self-determination forces àti gbogbo àwọn èèyàn wa la kóra wa jọ ká dìbò fún Sanwó-Olú kó bá wa di ibẹ̀ yẹn mú náà kí Yorùbá nation tó gbà á. Sanwó-Olú was resoundingly ready to emphatically establish who owns the land. We should not forget that about 3 weeks before that, on February 25, embittered Lagosians, Yoruba and other ethnic residents had voted against Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the APC to lead to a Labour Party victory in Lagos State. Ojú wa ló ṣe o. With the lucky break for the Labour Party in the presidential elections, the fangs of the Igbo people, particularly in Lagos State, were let out. Deluding themselves in the claim of a false majority, they revealed in a series of sporadic statements, social media tweets and actions what their real agenda is in the election and beyond for Lagos and the Yoruba people. They had hijacked the Labour Party and appointed only their people to posts of contentions in the Lagos State House of Assembly. In the House of Assembly elections, it would have been a disaster of unimaginable proportions for the Yoruba had Labour won. Following the earlier Labour Party victory in the presidential election in Lagos State, an ominous picture of foreboding was emerging for the Yoruba and their heritage in Lagos State. Frenzied, massive mobilization and panicky rethinking pervaded all Yoruba spaces at the churches, mosques, Isheshe groups, bars, sports centers, government circles, self-determination groups, and social media platforms. It was a massive reawakening that saw Yoruba resurgence to quickly re-establish their dominance and expel the specter of a foreign domination in Lagos by the Igbos. They knew what they had to do. They had to vote the APC, who had any hope among all the contending parties of restating the Yoruba heritage of Lagos to power. Voting for the People's Democratic Party was a no-brainer. This was not an endorsement of the APC as a party per se, but the coalition of all true Yoruba to rout the invaders. Fulani atrocities and terror in Yoruba land. We must bear in mind that on a daily basis, Yoruba farmers in the villages and our people in the towns and cities and on the roads are being kidnapped, raped, brutalized, and killed in Yoruba land by an alien Fulani force who makes no pretensions about his desires to kill all of us off and take ownership of our land. This military and political program is being implemented in phases and would have advanced significantly had it not been for the stout resistance of Yoruba indigenous people in the forests, villages, and in the cities and highways. The hidden agenda of the group to replicate this on the economic and commercial front is what they are pushed to establish a political hegemony in Lagos State represents. Then, Yoruba will be further pressed to be fighting through enemies on the political, military, and economic fronts. Basharu MKO Abiola was denied the presidency of Nigeria because some sections of Nigeria had appropriated the ownership of Nigeria and the prerogative to bequeath the presidency to whoever pleases them, irrespective of the right of the Yoruba man to aspire in a supposed federal Nigeria. The denial is what has opened the underbelly of Nigeria to expose the festering cankerworm and the reasons why it should be impossible This denial is what has opened the underbelly of Nigeria to expose the festering cankerworms and the reasons why it will be impossible for Nigeria to remain one country. This was true 30 years ago. It remains true today. For Yoruba to emerge, to achieve its true potential, the fetters tying us to Nigeria must be severed. The Fulani cattle traders and herdsmen in Oyo State recently issued a statement to the effect that they will not be selling cows and cow milk wara in reaction to the directive of the Oyo State government that they should desist from open grazing within Oyo State. This is music to our ears. We have said it time and time again that Fulani cow meat is poisoned. The proceeds from the sale of these cows is used to purchase guns and bullets with which they terrorize Nigeria. They lead these cows into our farms, attack and kill farmers, rape women and destroy crops. More nauseating, the cattle rearers have been seen to sleep with the animals in open shows of bestiality. Video clips of such shows of shame abound on the internet. Having decided to take their toxic animals off our street, market, and forests, they must never be allowed back with their poisonous cargoes again. Let it be good riddance to bad rubbish. And for this, we say kudos to the Oyo State government. Lagos State street name renaming exercises and the Lagos State House of Assembly. It is in this light that we welcome the courageous words of Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. Kò sí tó kọ́ wá pẹ̀lú àwọn politicians, but tó bá ṣe nǹkan tó dáa, let us praise them. Tó bá dẹ̀ ṣe nǹkan tó bà wá nú jẹ́, a máa protest against wọn ni. Not anybody. In which he emphatically defended Yoruba interests during his speech at the proclamation. This speech was juxtaposed side by side with the ambivalent stance of many other Yoruba politicians, kings, governors, and even the incumbent president, who choose to stay on the sidelines when Yoruba people are being mauled, raped, kidnapped, and murdered. Many of the governors refused to raise a finger beyond their Motefu project, which we forced on them. While our people suffered, we all remember the infamous words, "Where are the cows?" We shall break the Mudashiru speech into its component parts to analyze the potency of the pronouncements and the correctness or otherwise of the intent of the proposed legislative bill. Number one, Lagos is Yoruba land, as against the assertions of some people that it is a no man's land. Two, laws passed by the assembly will now be translated to Yoruba language. Three, the assembly will ensure that laws are made to protect the interests of indigenous people of Lagos. Four, lawmakers will reverse all that is reversible to protect the interests of the indigenous people of Lagos and employ all legislative instruments for the support of the indigenes of Lagos. There will be laws and resolutions in the areas of economy and commerce, property and titles, and we will reverse all that are reversible to protect the interests of the indigenous. The indigenous population of Lagos is made up of Awori, Ijebu, Eba, Egbado, Remo, Ilaje, and Igbo, along with the returnee freed slaves from Sierra Leone and the West African coast. Lagos State is completely Yoruba and ensconced within the bellies of Ogun State and the Atlantic Ocean. Further to the northwest, northeast, and far north of its locations are the Yoruba states of Oyo and Osun, Ondo and Ekiti, Kwara and Kogi. The nearest neighbors to the east are the Benins. They are those who were able to establish a powerful empire from the 1200s to the 1800s AD. No sustainable credibility can be accorded the stories of Benin rulership or sovereignty over Lagos. Neither is there any trace of the system of kingship transition, father to first son, as it is practiced in Benin till today, it does not exist in Lagos State. What subsists in the Yoruba ruling houses system is a ruling house of the families that produce the Oba, which is the same thing all over Yorubaland. That sort of things in Lagos Island, which this is different from the world of things in Edo, where the king passes the rulership to his first son. Apart from the temporary residence of the Benin Viceroy in Igaidugon for a period, after which they were uprooted by the Oba Akishemoyi revolt, or their consumption through intermarriages. Benin people have never laid claim to Lagos, the island. They have never laid claim. All the Obas and those succeeding them had full Yoruba names. Akishemoyi, Usoko, Akitoye, Ologukutere, Adenija Adile, and Oyekon, among others. If the Edo people, who are direct neighbors and cousins, are not threatening Lagos State, why would there be so much hatred, animosity, and envy from such outlandish, uncouth people with whom we share little in terms of culture and tradition? What emboldened the Igbo may be traceable to Governor Bola Tinubu, 1999 to 2007. He appointed the Igbo commissioners and special advisors into his cabinet and allowed the Igbo to have unbridled ownership of land within the state, a privilege no foreigner in Igbo land enjoys, for which they want to force down our throats. Recently, some streets were renamed in Bagada and some other parts of Lagos State to reflect the true Yoruba ownership of Lagos. This is highly commendable. The burning agenda of the Fulani during the frenetic march of their political jihad was to conquer all of Yoruba land and bury the Quran and the sword in the sea. This proved unachievable when they were decisively stopped by the Yoruba at Osogbo in 1840. They were resoundingly defeated. The closest street to the Atlantic Ocean in Victoria Island used to be Ahmadu Bello. Why? This street was so named at independence when the Fulani and the coalition government of the NPC and NCNC seized Lagos and commenced a frenzy to change the shape of Yoruba land. They started renaming streets. So naming the streets closest to the Atlantic Ocean after Ahmadu Bello, the erstwhile premier of the North, and the unquestionable leader of the NPC party at the time, was their own symbolic way of burying the Quran and the sword in the sea. They neither conquered Yoruba nor ruled Yoruba by its territory after any election. They failed at the 1964-65 election. They failed at the 1983 Ondo State gubernatorial election. The Igbo too failed woefully at the aforementioned 1923 Lagos State gubernatorial election. The name must urgently be changed to either, that is the name of Ahmadu Bello, must be urgently changed to Oodua Adimula or Obafemi Awolowo. Benjamin Adekunle or Olokun or Moremi or any other name to venerate authentic Yoruba heroes, not Yoruba tormentors. Why can't we name the Murtala Mohammed International Airport after Colonel Shitu Alao or Benjamin Adekunle? Why? So the street renaming and entities renaming has just started. And that's why we must tell the Lagos State government that, well done. The Lagos State House of Assembly, well done for this. So, a lot of other things that they have done that is not right. We will attack them. Equally, some streets were renamed to reflect the Igbo interest in the coalition government of 1960. Thus, strange names like Eninjoku, Nnamdi Azikiwe, Ozumba Mbadiwe, etc., became the new names of some major streets in Lagos. During this period, the then government chose to balkanize the western region, while keeping the other regions of the eastern region and the northern region geographically intact, by legislating to price the Midwest out of the western region, chiseling the Lagos area out as a federal capital territory, which eventually became Lagos State. It must be noted that prior to this, all areas from boundary, Ajegule, Fade, Yaba, etc., northwards, were all parts of the old western region. In the same way, Tinubu gave oxygen to the Fulani and merged with the Yoruba nation agitation because of his ambition to rule Nigeria. When the Yoruba make the emphatic claim that they own the land and the whole of Lagos State, it is not because they paid for a patch of property on the territory. No, it is because they have an ancestral, spiritual, cosmogonic relationship and connection to that land. Yes, it is because they have fought for it, shed blood for it, died on and have buried their people in it. It is because they have planted on it, sowed on it, and harvested from it. It is because they have worked on it, and prospered on it for eons of generations. This goes beyond buying and owning a patch of property. And this is what our Yoruba people mean to emphatically stamp down for eternity when they invoke the ancestral spirit of Alale, the owners of the land, long dead and buried, but still with us to fight their fight, to never leave the land nor allow it to pass to another. Invocation goes beyond idle communal ritual dance. It is a deep inner core, umbilical cord call to the ancestors to awaken the sleeping chain and blood connection with the descendants who still subsist on top of the earth, to arise to strengthen the hand of the now in the desecration of the land by interlopers. In this imagined battle of the sword, to retain the sacred ownership of the land, how will the soul of the dearly departed rest in peace when another race, a hostile one, walks above them in disrespect and disregard as conquerors? Alale must rise. And in matters such as this, they had never let the people down. In this particular matter, they will rise powerfully to tell the ambitious usurpers to shift to other claims. And they are still rising today through the pronouncements and statements of proudly Yoruba people like officials of Lagos State who renamed Ozumbambadiwe Street to Ogunfunminire Street. Ozumbambadiwe commenced from where was the name of that army barracks? Bonikam to Epe. That's Ozumbambadiwe. And you not give that name to a foreigner. So Ogunfunminire was the man that led the Awori people to Lagos and the water area. So it is now Ogunfunminire Road. Carnival bus stop, they changed it to Olamide Bado. Omowani. The Ladipo market, which the Igbo tenants renamed after Aguyi Rosi. Aguyi Rosi, was renamed Paramo Market. Also, the Yoruba owners and founder of the market. The Lagos State House of Assembly members have legislated to the Yorubanization of all of Lagos State, its policies and politics, and will continue to rise until the ghosts of such misadventures are exorcised and banished from our land. Now, the Lagos State House of Assembly said some things. I don't want to go through all that. But of course, they have said that Yoruba will be the official language of the Lagos State House of Assembly. If certain laws are obnoxious and antithetical to the well-being of the people and the good governance of Lagos State and Yorubaland, it makes eminent sense to reverse it. A law that allows only the rich and powerful to own property at the detriment of the downtrodden poor should be expunged from the Lagos State statute books. Access to land and its benefits should be made available by law to indigenes without necessarily encouraging indolence or disorder. We support this aspect of the legislation with all the seriousness we can muster. A situation where Lagos State indigenes and Yoruba in general are denied access to or ownership of stores or shops in some specific markets in Lagos State simply because they are not Igbo is reprehensible and unforgivable. In such markets, they are heckled, hassled, harassed, embarrassed, and intimidated until they are forced out. This is particularly true of Alaba Market, Ladipo Market, that is the new Paramount Market, and the Trade Fair Complex. No market in Lagos State, and by extension, no parts of yorubaland, should be owned by or occupied 100% by one ethnic group. It becomes the breeding ground for anti-Yoruba sentiments that will not augur well for the state on the long run, as we are witnessing today. We propose in this regard that ownership or occupation of by non-indigenes in any particular market should not exceed 40%. And the same is true for markets in Ibadan here and other parts of yorubaland. While heckling and harassment of indigenes who set up shop in such markets should be criminalized. Land or property ownership should be strictly regulated to limit the 99-year certificate of occupancy or leasehold for non-indigenes to 20 years or less, renewable after 20 years. So you don't own the land. Whether you buy 5 million acres or whatever, you don't own the land. The land belongs to Yoruba. In Igbo land, they will not even allow you as a foreigner to venture to own land or any other property at all if you are a non-indigene. Therefore, what is good for the goose is equally good for the gander. What you cannot swallow, do not force others to eat it. It is even because the Yoruba are civilized people. Otherwise, land and property ownership should be restricted to only the Yoruba. We own our land. We own our properties. So in this same instance, it is shameful that some of our people in Ado-Ekiti, Akure, everywhere, they are selling their ancestral inheritance, houses, land, to Igbo people, to foreigners. When you sell it today and use it to do party or whatever, what will your children eat tomorrow? How will they survive? Now, this is what is practiced in places like the United Arab Emirates, like Dubai and so. In Israel, and even in South Africa, where foreigners are not allowed to own more than 7% of the total land area. And those three areas. Thus, we wish to reinforce the hand of the Speaker and the entire House of Assembly members to promulgate laws as they deem fit to protect the interests of the indigenous people of Lagos State in particular, and Yoruba in general, from our hawkish sojourners from the East. In equal measure, we shall encourage the Yoruba majority and minority houses of assembly in Ogun, Ondo, Oyo, Osun, Ekiti, Kwara, Kogi, and Edo and Delta states to follow suit and will emulate the Lagos State example. Now, unbridled sales of land and other ancestral property, family properties all over Yoruba land to dubious speculators. A few weeks ago, news made the rounds that over 5,000 hectares of land in the Lekki area were sold to one Zenco property. 5,000 hectares. You know what? Zengo Properties is owned by one Cletus Ozezie Oragua from Upomba DK, Nnewi South Local Government Area of Anambra State. His Anambra people will never sell 1 square meter of land to Yoruba man. Oh, very much. But our people, in our collective greed, ignorance, and short-sightedness keep selling prime land and choice assets to these people who have a strategic agenda to buy us out of our inheritance. Our kings, violence, and landowning families are particularly guilty of this travesty. The government of Lagos State must be notified not to give its consent to this sale and many others of such purchased with funds with no traceable source by the emergency billionaires from the state government, either in Lagos or Ondo or Ekiti, must never give consent to these sales, these purchases, if they are not going to be called collaborators with people who want to kill us off and take over our land. In another suspicious move, the Igbo community in Lagos is playing host in October to what is being hailed as the Igbo celebration of the century, a grand cultural and intellectual gathering aimed at honoring the 100 greatest Igbo personalities of all time. Why hold such a provocative event in Lagos? In yorubaland? If the Igbo are so proud of their achievements, the most appropriate place for them to host such an event is somewhere in the Igbo heartland, in Anambra, Imo, Enugu, Ebonyi, Abia, or take it to Abuja, because Lagos is no more the federal capital. So what are you doing? Because they have been claiming that they want to make Lagos the 6th Igbo state. So that's why they are doing all this sort of thing. The planners even plan to bring the Igbo masquerades that nearly caused a riot some time ago last year to that event. Last year, we made a press conference in the fact that this thing should not happen. You bring Igbo masquerades to Lagos, we are trying to challenge us spiritually. And we will be totally against that. We're not fighting with Igbo. We're just telling them to behave and keep their distance. We don't have any quarrel with them beyond the subterranean moves by them to take over our land and buy off our properties. And our governors are complicit in this instance. They must be called to order. They should be warned to desist from these sort of claims to the physical, social, and cultural assets of Yorubaland. Whatever may be the altruistic nature of their intention, Yoruba people are reading it otherwise. If some people sow the wind with their brashness and the uncouth, disrespectful nature of their utterances, and they are now reaping the wild wind in the reactions of the real owners of the land, who should be blamed? Lagos remains ordinary Yoruba land. However, it is important to etch this fact in stone for all ages by enacting laws in this regard. This is highly necessary to discourage revisionists and ill-intentioned individuals and groups who will wish to rewrite history to reflect their own delusion. This legislation will serve the purpose of finally killing off that thought. And to those who want to rely on the legal Nigerian constitution to challenge the legislations should be reminded that they stand on very shaky foundation, because the 1999 Nigerian constitution is still a subject of serious contention. Since the principle of federalism has been bastardized in Nigeria, it behoves on the ethnic nationalities forced into the Nigerian project to use whatever instrumentality that is at their disposal to extricate themselves from the impossible union, fight for their deep identity, and establish guarantees on indigenous rights for such matters of direct relevance. Please note that this does not translate to a support for the Tinubu government by the universal determination forces. Nor is it an endorsement of the fraudulent democratic process fostered on us through the pinhole of an illegal, unelected constitution, where the policies of this de facto government coincide with ours, we shall support. But where it is at variance with our ultimate goal of self-determination, liberation, and statehood for the Yoruba people, we shall vehemently oppose. The travails of Chief Sunday Adeyemo alias Sunday Igboho. Osha. The travails of Chief Sunday Adeyemo, otherwise known as Sunday Igboho, who has vigorously and selflessly campaigned against the killing, maiming, raping, and kidnapping of Yoruba sons and daughters, must be revised by this government. The Directorate of State Security, DSS, illegally invaded his house, killed his people, incarcerated many of his relatives, and forced him into exile, where he was imprisoned for months in deference to the government of Nigeria. His bank accounts have been frozen indefinitely, whereas no crime or allegation has been leveled against him. Chief Sunday Igboho must be set free and the toga of wanted placed on him removed. Wanted for what? That wanted toga must be removed forthwith. He has not been found guilty of stealing, robbery, kidnapping, or murder. Those foreign Fulani elements who daily commit this kind of atrocities on our land and on our people are walking freely on Nigerian streets and Nigerian roads today. But our own son, who is defending us, you are debarring him from entering Yorubaland or walking free. Chief Adeyemo cannot move freely in Yorubaland, his fatherland. What a cruel irony. We implore the Nigerian government to free his assets, remove the lien on his bank account, and take his name out of the wanted list. For the avoidance of doubt, what we desire is a free and unfettered Yoruba nation, free from the encumbrances, shackles, endemic corruption, and bankruptcy of the Nigerian state. Thank you so much. Ilẹ̀ Yorùbá ní gbogbo àwọn tó ń bọ̀ English tó kà lójú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà ẹni tó wà nígbà yìí tó kí òkà. Yorùbá nation. Yorùbá. Orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá. Ní kíákíá. Ìdọ̀dọ̀ rẹ̀. Ohun tí ọ̀gá wa àgbà ó ti ń bá wa sọ látẹ̀yìn. Ó ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú gbogbo tí a ti ń gbọ́ náà látẹ̀yìntẹ̀yìn. Wọ́n mẹ́nu bà ètò ìṣèlú Nàìjíríà tí ò bá èròǹgbà tí Yorùbá mú rárá àtọ̀ ní gbogbo ọ̀nà. Wípé ohun tó lè yọ wá kúrò ní àjàgàtà wọ̀nyí ju pé ká gba orílẹ̀-èdè wa ní kíákíá lọ. Bóyá àpín wéré-wéré. Bóyá àpín wéré-wéré. Bóyá àpín wéré-wéré. Bóyá àpín kíákíá. Káwùsà lọ kí ìbò lọ. Bóyá. Ẹ ṣé. Wọ́n sì mẹ́nu bà ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àdánwò tí ọmọ Yorùbá ń dojú kọ nínú ìlú wa tí a dẹ̀ lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ sí nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀. Ìkíní nínú ẹ̀ ni àwọn ìjàgbálẹ̀ tí wọ́n tàtòkèrè wá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí gba ilẹ̀ wa.
kò dá ń ṣe wípé ilẹ̀ wọ́n fẹ́ kọ́lé àbí wọ́n fẹ́ dálé iṣẹ́ lẹ̀ kì í ṣe pé wọ́n fẹ́ ní industry. Wọ́n fẹ́ gba ilẹ̀ wa kán lè establish ìlú tí wọ́n ní. Wọ́n fẹ́ sọ orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá di orílẹ̀-èdè tí wọ́n ní. Irú àwọn ọ̀ràn bẹ́ẹ̀ ní Fúlàní àti Ìgbò. Wọ́n lu gómìnà Èkó ní ọ̀gọ ẹnu fún ìwọ̀nba akitiyan tó ṣe ó ti ẹ̀jẹ̀ wípé àwọn gangan ni wọ́n ń fà wá sẹ́yìn jù. Akitiyan tó ṣe náà ni pé gbogbo àwọn kọ̀rọ̀kọ́ndú Èkó òpópónà lóríṣiríṣi tí wọ́n ti sọ lórúkọ ìnagijẹ ó bá wọn dáhùn padà sórúkọ Yorùbá. Káwọn tán rò pé àwọn lè gba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lè mọ̀ pé gbogbo ibi tí àwọn ń pe orúkọ àwọn sí tí ń pàwọn làwọn ní ẹ ló ní àwọn tó tètè débẹ̀ láti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọjọ́ tí wọ́n sì wà ń bẹ̀. Àti wípé kò sí ọ̀nà tí a lè gbà nítorí ìjọba tí àwọn ìjọba táwọn tó ń ṣèjọba lórí wa wọn ò ní làákàyè débi wípé wọ́n lè mọ nǹkan tó tọ́ sí àwọn láti ṣe. Àwa náà ládìde nílẹ̀ tá gbà wọ́n níyànjú. Ìwé tí wọ́n kà síta fáwọn òǹkọ̀wé yìí ẹjọ́ torí Ọlọ́run ẹ jẹ́ kí ó di rírí káàkiri gbogbo ayé torí pé àwa náà gbìyànjú láti jẹ́ kí abala abẹ ọ̀kan gómìnà Èkó lọ́wọ́ báyìí. Ìyẹn nínú àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n sọ lọ. Lẹ́nu wá fẹ́ ṣe àkàwé àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan nípa kí àwọn Ìgbò kán máa gbalẹ̀ mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́, kán máa sọ lórúkọ tiwọn. Ẹ má jẹ́ tàn ní àwọn tí wọ́n jẹ́ gómìnà wa ni wọ́n ń fà á. Àwọn tó jẹ́ gómìnà wa ló ń fà á. Èyí tó jẹ́ wípé yóò ba èmi àti ìwọ nínú jẹ́ lọ́jọ́ ọ̀la tí ó sì kó bá àwọn ọmọ wa ó ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ o. Àwọn afúnṣọ́ wọn ti donílé mọ́ wọn lọ́wọ́ o. Gómìnà àpapọ̀ gómìnà mẹ́fẹ̀ẹ̀fà tó pera wọn ní Western Region Governors àbí South West Governors tó pera wọn. Àwọn gángan gba àbọ̀dè fún wa torí wọ́n ń talẹ̀ wọ́n ń talé wa. Ẹ lọ sí gbogbo GRA pátápátá gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ti tà fáwọn Ìgbò. Èyí tó bà mí ló jẹ́ jù kí n tó débí lónìí ni wípé mo ṣèwádìí nǹkan kékeré kan tí mo fojú rí wọ́n lẹ̀ jẹ́ kí n mọ̀ pé wọ́n ti tà ní. Ilẹ̀ Premier Hotel tó wà ní abala kejì tó fẹ̀ lọ rẹ́rẹ́rẹ́rẹ́rẹ́rẹ́rẹ́rẹ́ mo gbọ́ pé àwọn gómìnà mẹ́fẹ̀ẹ̀fà ti ta ọkọ̀ wọn ti tà fún Ìgbò. Wọ́n ti gírèdì ibẹ̀ wọ́n ní wọ́n ti gé nílé àwọn wọ́n ti gé sí pẹ̀sùn wọ́n ti pín bẹ̀. Mo dẹ̀ gbọ́ pé títà ni wọ́n tà fún ọmọ Ìgbò kan gẹ́gẹ́ bí wọ́n ṣe ta ìtí ọ̀gá wa mẹ́nu nígbà. Ṣé a mọ̀ wòran? Ẹ jẹ́ kí n jẹ́ ká ẹ mọ̀ kó lórí àwọn dìbò fúnra ẹ̀ ló mọ̀ bọ́ta tí gbogbo ayé tẹ̀rí kà. We don't sell our lands to strangers. Stranger to me Yorùbá o, kò mean Hausa. That is pé Anambra làwa àtàlẹ̀ fọmọ Imo. Ọtọjọ jẹ́ Ìgbò, wọn ní talẹ̀ wọn fún ọ. A dẹ̀ sọ pé àwọn bàbá wa kí ni wọ́n fi lẹ́pẹ́ kéèyàn kó àlejò mọ́ra. Kí ni wọ́n fi kó bá wa? Èyí táwa tó máa fi ń kó bára wa ń sìn kọ́, àbáwọn bàbá wa náà tó ń ṣe yẹn ni. Àwọn bàbá wa kọ́ ló ń ṣe o. Yorùbá dẹ̀ ní ọ̀dàlẹ̀ balẹ̀ kú, ẹni tó dalẹ̀ á ṣe kí ni balẹ̀ lọ. Ọjọ́ ń bọ̀ lÓlúwa wí o. Bóyá Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ ká lè pàdé àwọn Afẹ́nifẹ́re níjọ́ kan. Máa bi wọ́n léèrè ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ questions. wọ́n ní tí agboolé kan bá ń tòrò ọmọ àlè bò tí dìde ni o. Ọmọ àlè tí wá dìde, ó ti wá gún yẹ, ó ti wá gún pálá mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́. Ẹni tó bá mọ story June 12 annulment, a mọ ipa tí David Mark kó nínú June 12 annulment. Ẹ ń bá gbúròó kú Abíọ́lá, a mọ ipa tí David Mark kó nínú ikú Abíọ́lá. Tẹ bá béèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn Afẹ́nifẹ́re pé ta ni ọ̀dàlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá tó jẹ́ number 1 ọ̀dàlẹ̀, ta ni wọ́n dà kọ? Wọ́n ní bàbá wa ẹsẹ̀ Akíntọ́lá lọ́dàlẹ̀. Ẹ wá wo ayé ìgbà náà sísìn nǹkan t'Akíntọ́lá ṣe tí wọ́n sọ lọ́dàlẹ̀ tí wọ́n mẹ́nu kó bẹ̀ títí dọ̀là kò tó tí ọmọ ẹgbẹ́ ṣe lọ́ọ́ fi kú wa. Ralph Arẹ́gbẹ́ṣọlá tó jẹ́ constituency ti wá táàjọ jà ńgbà tí wọ́n àná June 12 election, táàjọ jà ńgbà tí wọ́n pa Abíọ́lá, torí gbogbo wàhálà tá a ṣe, we now go and serve David Mark who killed Abíọ́lá as a secretary. I don't think I'm sounding political. Mo ń sọ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ìrọ̀ ni mo ń sọ. Tí a bá múra dáadáa, gbogbo àwọn ọmọ àlè tí wọ́n ró lágbára yẹn ọ̀tá àsopọ̀ ẹrú ni o. Bó ṣe wà ní APC, ló wà ní PDP, ló wà ní gbogbo political party tí ẹ dálẹ̀. Àwa máa rí sí táwa òfin bá wọn ṣòṣèlú o. Táà sì ní bá wọn ṣe láyé. Mo bẹ̀ ọmọ mi kan gbà tí mo fẹ́ wọlé sí ìbàdàn orí ìrọ̀. Mo bẹ̀ mo ní ẹjọ́ nítorí ọlọ́yin ọmọ ẹ̀. Ẹ gbìyànjú ẹgbà kí ní ìkóṣojú wa ká tó máa lọ. Nítorí ọjọ́ ọ̀la yẹn, mo ṣe torí àwa mọ́. Torí tí ẹ bá fi ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lẹ̀ fún àwọn ọmọ àlè tó ń pé tó ń káàkiri káyìí yóò ní wá lára díẹ̀ o. Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kó ní wá lára. Mo fàsìkò yìí bí Ọlọ́run ọba tó nílẹ̀ kó túbọ̀ dẹ́ ẹ̀mí bàbá wa bá ń jẹ́ Akíntóyè sí. Ọmọ fi kú òjijì pa Sunday. Ó bá lọ́rọ̀ ẹ̀mí Akínọlá George àti gbogbo yálà ní diaspora ni o àbí nínú lẹ́bí ni o. Gbogbo àwọn tí ó ń ṣakitiyan kíkiní ò lè bọ̀ sí. Ọlọ́mọ fi kú òjijì pa yín o. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ tẹ́ délẹ̀ tẹ́ sọ pé kọ́yà. Ọlọ́run fún lágbára àti lè kọ́ o. Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kójú tì yín o. Gbogbo àwọn ìyá wa.
Ajagunlọ.
Sorry. Gbogbo àwọn ìyá wa. Ìyá tó jókòó ti wà lẹ́nu ẹ̀sìn. Gbogbo nǹkan ni wọ́n ti fi ṣe. Ọlọ́run ọba ò ní jẹ́ kẹfẹ̀ mi ṣe. Lágbára Ọlọ́run ojú yín ní òsè ojú gbogbo wa ní òsè. Based on this, mo bẹ̀ yín ní ẹ mọ́jẹ̀ ọ̀rẹ́ yẹn dákun torí Ọlọ́run. Mobilization is crucial. Ẹ jẹ́ gbé táàsì kan síwájú yín. Àwọn alágbára látòkè ni wọ́n sọ̀gbà tí ó ya oṣù pé mi fẹ́ já ilé kan náà. A fẹ́ dìde ìwọ́de tó jẹ́ pé òjò ọ̀rọ̀, òjò oṣù, òjò ọ̀rọ̀, òjò oṣù, a wà lẹ́nu ẹ̀, àní sá, àní sùn, àní wo. Tó bá jẹ́ pé ọjọ́ 12 la fẹ́ fi ṣe, ìjọba palẹ̀ mọ́ tilẹ̀kùn sẹ̀tíríàtì palẹ̀ ní state ìjàmbá ti nípa fẹ́ fi ṣe. Ẹ máa lọ gbáradì yẹn sílẹ̀. It's a tax before.
Yeah, now it's time for question and answer. I don't know if our people have 1 or 2 questions. So, media only, please. Question and answer from the media. Okay, Baba. 1, SOJ 2, Muslim 3. Please introduce yourself before you ask. Please come forward, sir.
The chairman of this gathering,
other leaders, you are also leaders. The other people at this side. Without taking much of your time, Baba, I want you to listen. My name is Chief Ayuade Solomon Oluwalugbenika, the former chairman of this council. Gbọ́n mo lè bọ̀ sí àpò tí ń bá àwọn ọmọ jẹ́ tí dẹ̀ ń wù mí ilẹ̀ sọ. Ọkùnrin kan pé ilé kan bá ń tóró ọmọ àlejò ìdẹ̀gbẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ àlè Yorùbá ti ń bì ṣùgbọ́n ààrẹ gbà wọ́n láyè rẹ̀. Sir, I read your speech and I followed it. I have to do your